shall we go to books? Our viewers love books, and I've already said Ray Kurzweil, The Singularity is Nearer. It's a great book. But perhaps the book that excited me most is The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleiman, which I think, the kind of things that you're talking about, being futuristic and future-proofing ourselves in education and agriculture. If our politicians read this book, then this would be a different country. But the thing that I worry about is that we are losing our soul. When we become more and more like machines. We're losing our soul when we assign everything to machines. But I hear that those machines might have their own soul. But which is why this book for me is important, what we owe each other as humanity. But for me, it says, Doctor, should we not be setting regulation for AI? Should we not be saying, we had the non-proliferation treaty, which realized how dangerous nuclear weapons were. And humanity got around and agreed that the production of nuclear weapons will be controlled. Why doesn't humanity sit around the table and say, we owe ourselves a safe world? Nobody should produce a highly powered AI without a license. What's your response to that before I go to your books?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting one, conversation. Just to give you perspectives, I may not give you an exact answer, but I want to give you perspectives. The first one is very difficult to regulate something which is much faster than you. ChatGPT now has got IQ maybe 155. Mm-hmm. Albert Einstein was 116. An average person about 80. So we're talking something which is almost double.
We don't know, yeah.
The next ChatGPT, if they get a 10 times multiplier, we're talking now 1,500 IQ. And meanwhile, ours is not progressing, it's still sitting at 80. So we get a big problem in trying to regulate something which can autonomously think and develop and do things.
The Chinese have just released DeepSeek. They've released Manus, which is even much more powerful.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying.
Then the second problem we have, all these developments in AI have got nothing to do with my grandfather in ways and it's capitalism. It's people wanting to control the world. And they'll go as far as they can. Remember 2023, they actually wanted to sign an agreement that let's stop this thing. But unfortunately, it's capitalism. And to regulate capitalism is not in
the soul, Doctor, go back to that. But I'll press you now. What books are you recommending? I love the fact that you are reading your father's poems and notes. Do you intend to publish them as books?
Yeah. So, going back to the AI thing, is Mo Goddard, one of the godfathers of AI, reckons in the past you would sit and write books. Nowadays, it's no longer necessary. You take a list of all your publications and all sorts of things, you give it to an AI and say, write a book for me, for the youth, for the elder, and the like. So yes, the answer is yes. The technologies that can help me to take all the things that he left, combine it with what I have, dump all the pictures and stuff and say, AI, write me a book about his life. And I can have that. I do a lot of writing, by the way, nowadays more in the AI space. So I think shortly I'll be releasing books because the technology allows.
Any idea what the titles of these books are going to be?
Yeah, so I like by the way, I'm studying also with a university on the impact of AI on jobs, because I think the biggest impact on humanity will be around jobs, let alone culture and all sorts of things. So one of the first ones that I want to publish is the impact of AI on jobs, particularly in Africa, because we don't have the data. Absolutely. We just go in the dark.
Yeah.
How does it affect employment, jobs, culture, and all sorts of things? I would like to write in that space.
What other book are you reading?
Okay, so the one I have to reread.
Yeah,
3 times now is Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese? Fundamental.
A very simple book.
Yes.
So small and yet impactful.
Read it
Yeah.
many times. From it,
Yeah.
it's about change. Yeah. That if you don't change, or simply put, it then says, imagine what you would have achieved if you didn't have fear. And fear is really what stops us
From changing. Yeah.
and from changing and achieving the best. And by the way, fear also is things that don't exist. We imagine them in our brain, and we think they're there. That I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Which other book?
I liked the Dale Carnegie series. By the way, my sales days, I was trained by Dale Carnegie in South Africa. One of the first ones that I read then was the greatest salesman in the world. And nowadays, the one I'm reading is How to Influence.
It's a lovely book, isn't it?
Yes. But I love it because half the things they talk about there, I'm struggling to do them.
Human beings are difficult. They're not like machines.
Yeah. And now 60% of my time is no longer in just books, but it's just reading artificial intelligence content, because the space is moving so
Very quickly.
Today there's something new. I'm hoping that by December I would have written one or two of my books in artificial intelligence, particularly as it affects African